Thank you for joining us for a very special Beauty and the Beast filler arc. While I was having a discussion with Devon regarding music, a series of BTS short films going into one of their singles came up, and I thought it would be a good chance to experience this in a go. From start to finish, all the short films into the music video with some limited context so we can discuss the artistry, the music, etc. As always, if you enjoy what we do, you can find all the services that we're available on at beardyandthebeast.com. In this case, we're going to be checking out the BTS Wings short films from the Wings album. These were effectively promotional material of various songs and members of the BTS group leading into their primary single, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. These short films are loosely based on Herman Hesse's Demian. A simple summary of this is Herman Hesse's novel Demian tells the story of a young boy named Emil Seclair in his childhood growing up during pre-World War I. Emil struggles to find his new self-knowledge in the immoral world and is caught between good and evil, which is represented as light and dark realms. So Devon, are you ready to go on a journey with me?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So, bit of context for myself. I don't think I've ever heard a BTS song. I mean, if I have, it's something that's been played on the radio, and I would never recognize it. But I know you've introduced me to some other K-pop, and there's been definitely we've had interesting conversations outside of the recordings, just with the artistry and such in the production. So I'm interested to see what we've got here.
And it's really fun given the breadth of genres that you and I listen to. Going from, I go from gangster rap to the only straight guy at a Bjork concert. So, and I know you're well within that that bracket of genres as well. And it just so happens that years ago I kind of got into K-pop, and I've introduced you to some that I thought that you might have interest to. But I think in this case, BTS might not be your jam, but I think this experience might be intriguing to you.
Yeah, and that's always one of the interesting things when it comes to the music industry. It's like a lot of people don't recognize that just because something isn't their jam doesn't mean there's not stuff there. And I always enjoy experiencing it and can appreciate art for what it is, regardless if it's something I'm going to go listen to on my own afterwards. So
exactly. And we were kind of, I think the preceding conversation towards this was regarding Justin Timberlake and probably the amount of respect that I guess that we think that he should get across genre and not just within pop and R&B.
It's true. There's some artists that just cross genres, and then a lot of artists that should cross genres. Yeah, I guess the way to say it.
Exactly.
I know we've definitely talked about Timberlake. I think Mylie Cyrus is one that has done a bit better at crossing the genres, but it's still nowhere near as much. And yeah, it's just interesting. It's like sometimes realizing how little cross genre there is. And there always should be, because that's how we get new ideas and such. So,
awesome. Well, let's get to it. Now, within these short films, they are short films, but they are also feature snippets of various tracks from the Wings album. In this case, the first one that we're going to be watching is called Begin. Begin is also a song on the Wings album. It's a solo by BTS member Jung.
All right. Yeah, let's get started. This should be interesting.
Feel free to pause at any time if you have any questions, comments, or want to discuss. We should probably do so frequently.
Yeah, probably. All right,
Let's go.
let's go.
The rhythms of day and night, two different words coming from two opposite poles, mingled during this time.
This is the leader and one of the rappers that was speaking. His name's RM.
Okay. A little bit of a slam poetry feel to that opening. All right.
The way that they illustrated that nightmare moment is actually a pretty decent representation of when you wake up in that cold sweat. The sudden stop or drop, and then all of a sudden you're awake. I mean, most people don't sit up in that circumstance, but
Yeah. I was actually about to pause myself as well. I think it's like, I mean, 30 seconds in, like, you get that clear idea of, it's like, okay, there's probably some trauma or something here as well. Like it could almost be a PTSD thing. Of course, I couldn't understand what the text was saying there, but probably not relevant or
okay,
not
so
required, I guess.
what you mean is there was an accident, or perhaps somebody knows in the past crashed, and
Yeah.
he is going through like a post-traumatic episode regarding that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from it immediately.
Well, let's see if your theory holds true.
All right, then.
I have to mention here that personally, this is a good representation of depression. I don't know if that's what they're going for.
Mm,
Um, but the way that things kind of like float away into the abyss and are all of a sudden meaningless, and there's another fixation, but it's surrounded by darkness. A good visual representation of some feelings I've had in the past.
okay. Yeah, it wasn't. So I didn't immediately jump to depression. I definitely had that. Is depression isn't the emotion that I was looking for. I can't. It's in that same vein, but not quite the same. It almost gives me like the visuals almost give me a feeling of the game Layers of Fear as well.
Fear?
Ju-
How about fear and grief?
Yeah. Yes.
Because fear and grief can end up in depression. So
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's not completely at that depression stage. And I think it's the art aspects of it. Like I can see like the kind of everything pulling away. Um just from the visual, I immediately get like a I don't know if depression when expressed this way normally has an artistic component to it. Even though in reality they are closely tied, as we know.
yeah.
But them there, but yeah, and then just there's something about the visuals. I think it hits a couple of other core things. Like I can kind of see, like some games come to mind immediately. Like I could see this being something almost in Silent Hill. Like the comics had a similar art style to like the paintings we're seeing there.
Well, I mean, look at the wire figure in the back.
Yeah,
That's obviously a large man, right?
yeah. We've got a lot of those things. It's good visual language.
Mm.
Again, like I don't have subtitles up or anything on this, so I'm not even. This is all coming from the visuals, and it's a big storytelling thing. If you can tell it, or not storytelling thing, big filmography thing. If you can tell the story without necessarily understanding the words, it's a big thing. So far, doing good.
Oh, it turned into a tree, but it obviously had man-like form before.
Mm,
I also noticed that that sketch had like color in the hair, but was still kind of dark and foreboding. It's interesting.
yeah.
Oh, and blood.
Now it's pulling in a little bit more of that, slipping into that depression. I can see, or
I see what you mean about fear. I see it.
yeah, yeah. So that yeah, let's try to pause it there. So the visual of that painting here, I want to just try to get it on frame if I could, but it's being a pain. So it's um, it kind of reminds me of again some of the trauma drawings you've seen by kids, where it's just
Mm.
like these very messy sketches that clearly have something. It's got more form here, of course, but again, just that visual language kind of hinting at the trauma, whatever it be that he might be dealing with here.
Yeah, it's kind of those things like in my darker times, conveniently, when I was more keen on drawing, um, when I, what's the best way to say, when I was feeling like more so in the depths of
Mm.
whatever emotions I was in, um, my art would also become um, thicker lines, more foreboding, more sketchy, more messy, less clear. So I personally see like an artistic analog to that picture he was looking at.
Yeah.
Okay. Raven in an elephant in an envelope.
Ooh, that's a nice shot.
I like that.
Like
And he
just
looks childlike there.
yeah.
And you can see the feather on
Mm.
the orb.
Yes.
All right. So the second short film is called Lie. Lie is another the name of another track on the Wings album, and this is a solo track by one of the BTS members, Jimin.
Okay.
My parents' house made up one rhythm. This rhythm was familiar to me in almost every way. Mother and father, love and strictness, model behavior, and school.
I'm pretty sure those are excerpts from Demian.
Okay.
Oh, it's the same symbol from the previous one. Oh, did you see that? In
Uh,
I don't know if I can jump back. Give me a sec here.
okay.
There it is. I don't know if you see it. It's one of the wing circles, but it looks like there's a bite taken out of it. And knowing the description of Demian that I mentioned about struggling to find his new self in the knowledge of the moral world and is caught between good and evil. And of course, bite of the apple,
Right.
representing a lot when it comes like in the Christian faiths.
You're getting that extra bit of knowledge and giving a bit of a fall. I kind of like how they. It almost seems like they're trying to set that up as like a Rorschach, like an ink blot test. Like that's the immediate visual that I'm getting from that.
Well, especially because like this is obviously a mannequin arm, right?
Yeah.
In one moment, it's holding the orb that we saw from the first short film, and in the second one, he's seeing something different.
Yeah.
I like your take.
Yeah. There's definitely a psychological aspect to this. Again, beautiful shot.
I should look into this and see if this director has done anything else. Hills?
So this is still building on my idea of like the PTSD.
I agree, and one set of feelings is conflicting with another set of feelings for me. So in this case, like it's a very clean, white environment that he was in. It looked very controlled. There was a camera pointing at him, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And then he starts going into this kind of almost dreamlike sequence where there's almost this angelic feeling. And of course, the track from the song, I'm Caught in a Lie, in his high tone, almost searching for freedom. And I think that lends well to your concept of something related to PTSD.
I don't know if freedom is the word I would use. So you throwing that in actually makes like PTSD, and maybe it was no, it's like he's feeling at fault somehow. So it's not necessarily freedom, but more of like searching for absolution.
Oh, I see what you're going with. I like that line of thinking.
Yeah.
Telling you, gotta hit up the dispensary for that dog.
Yeah. It'll only be a couple minutes, a couple moments.
Ooh,
that was a very good mix of that. What you're saying, the that mix of emotions.
Like it's all over the place. Like he doesn't know what to feel right now.
Yeah. And then like little shots like this, it's almost gonna say that at least I'm feeling something.
And I know you've been there. I've definitely felt that as well.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, this would fit right into Silent Hill.
The good ones, though.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our format doesn't allow for the subtitles.
Oh, that was interesting there. Hold on. Pause it for a second. Okay. So you mentioned that being a bite. That was actually came across a little bit different to me there. I don't think it's a bite anymore.
Oh, it looks like it's fracturing off, right?
Yeah, I think it's like earth shattering.
Oh, yeah. Like something struck it or is disintegrating off it. Like, I don't know if this is a good analog for it, but like in the past, where my love for a girl and not having her because of the separation
Mm.
has been so self-destructive. The only way for me to kind of safely deal with it was to tear that part out.
Yeah.
So for me, anyways, the emotion going on right now is like, is this something being done to him, or is this something that he has to do to himself for survival?
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I still do think there is some Apple symbolism in it, but I'm definitely not leaning it on it as strong as I was before.
Yeah, there's been like obviously some religious religious symbols here now. I do think your Apple thing is relevant. I think this is just
Not the entirety.
extra context. I think it's extra context. Yeah, especially with him literally taking a bite out of the apple right before this transition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the third short film, Stigma, in this case, this is again another solo track. This
Okay.
one by the member V, who I believe, some random context, BTS topped the Billboard charts and got like some big awards and recognition in North America and worldwide.
Right.
Again, I mentioned before, literally biggest band in the world, outsold the Beatles. And V became kind of a hot talking point among people who weren't familiar, because at the award show, like he was wearing a suit and just look like mwah, chef's kiss,
All right.
and like everybody was thirst trapped on this guy.
Now, just before we move to the video, I just want to go off the title of this.
Yep.
And kind of build upon what I've already kind of what I'm seeing happening from the first two.
Mhm.
So now I'm definitely really leaning towards this idea, this guilt thing. So I don't know if it was a car accident or something. He caused the death of a loved one, or at least feels like he's caused a death of a loved one, and that's why he's feeling a stigma around it. Also, with the pills and such, the trauma and such, there's going to be stigma around that as well. So,
And it's interesting too, because in Korea they don't, I believe they don't allow any medication that includes any form of opiates, even in a medical sense.
okay.
Like even certain like ADHD meds and stuff like that are banned. And this is making me wonder, because I showed you, I think it was I Need You Girl, or just I Need You.
Yeah.
And in that music video, like RM was serving gas. One of the members was about to get struck by a car, or things like that. So I'm wondering, like, if there's some deeper lore that even I don't know that's related to music videos from before this.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man, the BTS lore is an iceberg. If you ever need to, like, wiki trap yourself.
There's something interesting about that. I mean, I know, like in the lore around, like some of the Pink Floyd albums, like there's a lot. There can be a lot there sometimes. Sometimes it means something, sometimes it doesn't. But I appreciate the concept idea and like the idea that no, there is a lore that's there.
All right.
All right.
It was the first fissure in the columns that had upheld my childhood, which every individual must destroy before he can become himself. Such fissure and rents grow together again, heal and are forgotten. But in the most secret recesses, they continue to live and bleed.
This is probably the dirtiest visual we've seen so far.
And I think the wording, the ab or whatever he's trying to scrape off was related to the book. Demian.
Okay.
I love that transition.
Mm.
Like the slide over, like you see that in some very like artistic transitions between shots in films, and oftentimes it's used in a very gaudy manner or like a pompous way.
Yeah.
But in this case, like it was the artful way.
Mm. This visual is also going to me. It's like, again, I'm going to get this cry for help feeling.
Like he's acting out.
Yeah, like he's there, like trying, like almost trying to get caught. And that could go back to that trying to feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this is some sort of attention or some sort of relief, however unhealthy it might be. You know, it's what he feels he needs at the moment. So,
Well, I mean, like, and it might even be like he doesn't know what he needs, so he's just trying anything to find out.
yeah. Guessing this is supposed to be a police type visual, but
Yeah, he definitely got caught. This
Yeah.
looks like an interrogation room.
yeah. All right. I think that was supposed to mimic like an anxiousness, but I don't think it is. Or I don't think that's quite the emotion he's necessarily feeling. Oh, I liked that.
Reflection in his eyes was a woman holding a child.
Yes. Okay, that's such a weird visual to see.
This is actually really harkening back to the "I Need You" music video. Because in that music video, one of the BTS members, I think it's in front of like his sister in the music video, like, attacks his dad and breaks a bottle over him.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if this is like a preceding thing to that. I'm like pushing into this lore thing because I don't have any context, so don't
Yeah.
let what I'm saying kind of taint you.
No.
So we can't call for help.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting visual. Like when, like, I know this came out recently enough. It's like phone booths. Like, we need to explain phone booths to people nowadays. It's I like the visual. Um, so kind of the pen still kind of keep where I'm going. It's like I still think there's that guilt aspect to it here. But now I'm almost wondering if it's a guilt that he couldn't do something more, as opposed to necessarily being cause of something. But this visual could also go back to what I had said previously. It's like he is acting out. He is calling for help, but can't call for help.
I agree. One thing I don't want us to get trapped in, this could be an indication of individual people, right? Because each one is regarding different people, but I do like the train that we're on, treating them as like if they are the same person, it's a story regarding one individual. But it could also be the different ways of coping of a group of people regarding something.
That's true. That was actually one thing I was going to ask there as well. It's like, and it would be something to look into lore. It's like, is this meant to be one person or is it meant to be multiple? Because I'm definitely feeling a narrative structure to these.
Yeah, and I think there would be value from looking at it from both points of view. I think primarily it's best to look at it one person, especially with the fact that it's got parallels to Demian, which is not about 6 or 7 people or whatever. It's about like an individual person and their experiences.
Yeah. I'm almost looking at it as like there's a movie about Morrison, I think, where they just literally had like 24 different actors playing Morrison.
Oh, damn.
Right? It's like Depp was there and Kate Blanchett was there. And I can't remember what it's called. I'll find it later.
All right.
Right.
I love that scene, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, this just reinforces the links to I Need You for Me. We're gonna have to watch I Need You again after all this.
Puppy.
It's the innocence.
Oh, it's so adorable.
Nice. I also really like this song. So I don't think that's trapped by police. I think that's trapped by circumstance.
That's what I was thinking too.
And then his innocence is the only thing that could slip away. I like it.
Which is unfortunately how that tends to happen.
Yeah.
See, that visual there again kind of goes back to that shattering. Shattering feeling. So kind of like the evolution of the symbol here.
I love these because when these were like, I was into BTS back when RM had a blue pompadour. Like, not to be hipster, but I was into BTS before they were worldwide. And it was actually this Saga that I kind of like fell off of BTS because they became, I don't know, it's that weird thing, like their sound evolved in a way I didn't like. It became more mainstream. I don't know if they were defining mainstream with how big they were, etc. But I definitely kind of pushed off in a different direction.
Fair enough.
So the next one, First Love, another solo by one of our rappers here, Suga. I'll tell you what, I don't like this way of watching
There
videos.
are numerous ways in which God can make us lonely and lead us back to ourselves. This was the way he dealt with me at that time.
Oh, good walk up.
Um,
That pan was so good.
it was. Yeah, this just kind of
That-
reinforces my idea of crying for help.
And this piano looks like the one that was in fire in that one shot.
Mm.
For a lot of people, like, acting out is the way to call for help, right?
Yeah. That is very true.
This is the perfect example of it because that alarm would go to a security company, the security company would call the police. The police would obviously come after this kid.
And he's obviously not there to steal anything. Like, it's just getting access to that piano.
It seemed like when he got there, he sat down and he played 2 notes and didn't know what to play.
Mhm. But it's that. Yeah.
Oh, we have a road.
And that whistling reminds me of something, but I can't. Oh. Okay.
Was that him?
And then
Was that him in the car?
I didn't
Oh.
see. That is
Blood on the road?
okay. So
I gotta remark though, he's got great style going on right now.
mm,
Not to like bring levity to it, but oh,
okay. So they are one character.
I really gotta appreciate the way my mind works, and I had forgotten everything that happened in these. So I'm like experiencing these for the first time again. So they are the same character, hey?
Yeah, I definitely think so. We're seeing too many visuals crossing through them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're meant to be an anchor. Because okay, so like if we go back to the first one, you know, that PTSD nightmare scene. There's the shattering glass along with fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that we're halfway through, it's like, okay, now we're actually getting the car, as you pointed out, like the blood on the road. So now Mike, and then I'm guessing, like as you pointed out, that piano is the same piano from the first episode as well. Like, this is gonna not go so good.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the glass shattering, the piano burning. Now, Mike. So now the question on my mind is, okay, was this person driving the car? Was the person not paying attention, like taking the last shot here at face value? Did he cause an accident by not paying attention, or was he driving and then feels guilt that way?
Or was he driving recklessly because he was acting out?
Yeah. So there's kind of these few different ways it could go. With the visuals, because him walking doesn't mean that he was walking when whatever happened. There's clearly a dream sequence aspect to this.
Yeah, so he could be watching the mistakes that he made from a third point of view, and because he still doesn't understand, there's some ambiguity to it. So he
Yeah.
doesn't see himself in the driver's seat right now. But it's quite clear that he was.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Oh. With the whistles kind of foreboding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there's supposed to be a feeling of, like, a call to salvation with it.
Yeah.
But I feel something foreboding about it as well.
It's like if it was in Western media.
Oh, piano keys.
To tire tread.
So it started as piano keys, merged with the fractured / apple bite, and became a tire tread.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Western media?
Like the whistling that we're hearing there, I almost wonder if it'd be similar to like what we'd expect in Western media to hear, like the Dies Irae, where it's, there's that extra meaning of it. Whenever you hear Dies Irae, you know that there's something. It's a sign of death to come or death that's happened.
Okay.
Right? Dies Irae, Dies Irae. Like that, those notes.
Yeah.
So, because there's almost like a hint of that. So I wonder if there's something culturally relevant that I'm not aware of. Or it could just be part of their song.
True.
It could be, but
Well, I
there
mean,
feels to be like there's more weight to it than.
And it might be something they elaborate on later. Like this tire tread circle is a good example. So the whistle might even come in to be like part of a tune or something specifically related to like one of the 3 others we're about to watch.
Yeah.
The next one we're going to watch is named Reflection, which is also a solo, the name of a solo by the leader and one of the rappers, RM.
All right.
In the I Need You video that I showed you, he was the one at the gas pump. It was sucking on a lollipop that turned out to be a cigarette.
Right. So I want to pause it here for a second.
Yep.
So just go back a second. So this is something like I didn't immediately read. So right off the bat here, it looks almost like Braille in the way that they're doing it. And I didn't realize that it's specifically music for healing. Which kind of actually ties to a little bit of the stuff we were talking about, like trying to deal with trauma. So just catching that in the title, and I don't know why I didn't see it quite catch it on the other videos. I think it's interesting to note and helps me think I might be on the right track with what's going on.
Unfortunately, I think to give like an era context to this, after this particular series, BTS's rise to global fame really accelerated. Big Hit changed sort of. I believe they went through a name change, started buying other music companies.
Okay.
And just became like this behemoth, buying up a lot of the smaller K-pop music companies. In K-pop, there was the big 3. That's YG, SM, and JYP.
Okay.
And Big Hit, like after this, and with the way that accelerated, essentially changed the paradigm to become the big 4. And Big Hit was the 4th. In fact, I think in some cases they're even Out of that, I think they're second or third when it comes to revenue. Out of those groupings.
All right then. Oh, so the music for healing might not be as relevant anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, at a certain point, it might come like, music and artists for finance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least with the visuals, like, and the story that we're getting,
The other realm, however,
seems to fit.
Yeah.
overlapping half our house, was completely different. A loud mixture of horrendous, intriguing, frightful, mysterious things, including slaughterhouses and prisons, junkyards and screeching fishwives, calving cows, horses sinking to their death, tales of robberies, murders, and suicides.
I gotta say one thing, like, I know he pronounced intriguing,
Yeah.
but there is an appealing draw to the way that he's reading these lines. Like, it's not wrong and found. It's almost like there's a rhythm to it that I really like.
Yeah. So, like, he's got this interesting timbre. It's like I said with the in the begin with the first audio that I heard. There's almost like a slam poetry sound to it, but like softer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about it, and again, not actually knowing the story. It's like I feel this very again, could be horror, like the psychological horror again, the good Silent Hills. Which is probably why I keep coming back to the visuals. There's just something about that screams to me like Silent Hill 2, and the way James is dealing with Mary's, death, however which way it is. Was it the dogs? Did he murder her? Who knows?
Well, considering like the other reason why we started down this train that ended up with this recording was the visuals of some of these videos.
Yeah.
When we were kind of just doing a post-recording after party, so that's probably part of what was on my mind when I went with a hey, let's watch these.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I do love that drawing.
There's a lot going on here, and I don't quite understand it yet. Obviously, the shipping container, like, is essential a sense of movement from point A to point B.
Yeah.
However, he is looking at the Raven picture from the envelope or the crow, and now he's permanently marking it on himself.
The shipping crate I could actually see going one of two ways. Like I can see where that sense of movement could come from, but I also just kind of get that the other way to look at that visual is it's storage.
Oh, yes.
It's not movement at all.
Something to hold something.
Yeah, so it's holding something, and now we go to the visual of, okay, I'm assuming that he's tattooing the bird on him, which is just holding on to that even more and storing that even more. Yeah, so I almost wonder if it's he's not letting go, and it's kind of hard to say that because like he's definitely putting a permanent mark on himself. I also know that a lot of people get tattoos as the way to let go, without.
True.
Right.
On the other aspect, because everything is there's a lot of metaphor here and symbolism, right? So, if I bring this back to like previous relationships I've had, storing those feelings away is a way of marking them on myself.
Yeah.
And it's something I can't get rid of, and they've brought me to where I am today, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not sold on there's a negative connotation to this.
Mm.
I think probability is it leans to it, though.
Yeah.
So, well, it definitely was, yeah.
Mm.
And then he burns the picture?
That shirt have a name on it?
Probably.
I thought it said Daphne, but now I'm not sure.
Like Diafino?
Yeah. All right, might be a uniform name as opposed to a. Sure. It's interesting because it didn't actually tattoo that image.
Yeah, it wasn't that image exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Oh, they're loving to surprise me with some great vision.
So I almost wonder if that was like a bleeding effect, because it's, again, very reminiscent of the painting we saw way back at the beginning.
Are you thinking instead of a tattoo, you're thinking something more akin to like self-harm?
Yeah, I'm almost wondering that, especially when you get the extra visual of him drinking and drinking enough to be in a stupor.
Mm.
Again, it's that. Yeah, I still think it goes back to the idea. It's like, as long as I'm feeling something.
Mm-hmm, agreed. Yeah. There was the shattered glass sound too, so
yeah.
Oh, I like this contrast. Fireworks usually supposed to represent like excitement and energy.
Yeah.
It's the shattered glass.
Mm.
Oh.
Ooh. Oh, our locked phone booth?
Yeah, I'm wondering about this telephone. Nice.
Which it could be an interesting thing. So maybe it's not like that adds context to it. Maybe it wasn't he couldn't call for help, but he couldn't be there to answer a call for help.
And given the way that these episodes are kind of, and the kind of feelings of guilt associated, it may have been him not being able to answer a call for help because of pride or self barriers that he put in the way.
So another thought that I'm starting to have is maybe he wasn't the one driving the car. Maybe he was like a kid passenger. And that there could be like a survivor's guilt. He couldn't do anything to help the situation.
I mean, that being said, considering they introduced alcohol, I'm just throwing this out here. I don't believe this is the way. I think you're closer. It could also be like that situation you're at a party and you see your friend who's obviously intoxicated about to go driving and you do nothing.
Yeah.
When you should have stopped them.
I could see where you're coming from with that. I don't think the rest of the visuals point to that, and the introduction of where the drink was.
That's why I say you're definitely closer.
Yeah, the only other liquid metaphors we've seen has been the pouring rain and the bathtub, which is drowning, not
cleansing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't think it's alcohol related in that way. I think the alcohol was a cope here.
Tangential.
Yeah. Well, not tangential. It's again showing how he's coping.
Yeah.
As opposed to a cause of the issue.
I was so good at myself.
Oh, well, I wish I could love myself. I wonder what that's about.
War. What's that about? That wasn't there before.
No, it wasn't. I'm wondering if it's representing a war within himself.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oop.
the shattered glass and the flower, or sorry, the feather. I don't see how that's.
It didn't really change anything.
No, it did. I just don't understand change. It's not as clear as the tire track.
Yeah, like sorry, it did change something, but the overall image I was getting from that ball, well, it's changed visually. It hasn't changed any type of interpretation I'm necessarily seeing from it.
Yeah, I don't see how it represents the video we just watched.
Yeah.
So the next one is called Mama, named after another track by one of the other rappers in the group, J-Hope, coincidentally, my favorite BTS member.
All right.
I was waiting to get fried in the comments about, like, you missed this, this, and
With a
this.
face that resembled her son's, timeless, ageless, and full of inner strength, the beautiful woman smiled with dignity. Her gaze was fulfillment, her greeting a homecoming. Silently, I stretched my hands out to her.
Padded room. Honestly, I see an appeal to that.
Mm. A padded room?
Yeah, just like everything's padded, just like you can lay down. It's oh. I do remember this scene. That was the same door that was being scratched at before.
Yeah. And now they're making the padded room feel more like a storage container again, almost.
With the same graffiti.
Yeah. And very similar to, like, I think it was the second one where we did that cut to, like, the black and white, same type of shot.
And it actually does harken a bit back to the picture that was on the pedestal, the splashes of color in the hair, as well as even onto the tattoo that RM had done on himself when it started filling with color.
Yeah. And again, the way that was shot, it's like, I don't think the color is color.
Yeah.
Like...
No, I'm feeling the same thing.
Right. Beach? Oh no, the forest. Okay.
It's the painting that yeah.
It's just kind of the way these visuals are going does make me go back to the idea of the Rorschach with the mannequin arm.
So that's what he saw in the photo.
Yeah.
Notice it was signed Ava, which of course is somebody in the book, as well as the receiving a chocolate was something from the book, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And that's kind of the context of that. But when we're talking about pills and feeling better, like a serene scene and a dose of chocolate and endorphins, etc.
Yeah. 100% convinced it's all one person now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
There's no way that it's not. Or it would be a massive twist in the next 2 videos for it to not.
Well, there's only one more short film, and then there's a music video.
I'm at the moment going in the assumption that the music video is still tied with the story for this type of setup. It would feel weird as a concept, but oh, maybe they didn't think people would watch it. I don't know. We'll see as we get there. What's the orb going to turn into this time?
So paint strokes into Ava.
Okay.
I actually remember that symbol from earlier.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, that.
So the paint strokes to the cut orb formed Ava. And that honestly kind of looks like the painting of trees to me.
Yeah, it's like starting to bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the painting no longer becoming whole or losing its identity.
Yeah.
The last short film is called Awake. And its namesake from another solo, and this is by BTS member Jin.
All right.
And in this case is it really does seem, and this makes sense in hindsight for me, because I'm dumb, where each one has a namesake song related to it. It is that member that is starring it.
That would make sense.
The bird fights its way out of the egg. The egg is the world. Who would be born must first destroy a world. The bird flies to God. That God's name is Abraxas.
All right. So that line, it's something I've actually heard variations of a lot across the board. So Utna has it, says you need to break the world's egg to bring about revolution. Star Wars book that I read ages ago. Basically, you have a pacifist kind of talking about, or someone trying to teach pacifists that you can't always be pacifistic. And they were using the idea of a butterfly in a cocoon. Like, if you go and help the butterfly out of that cocoon, that'll actually kill the butterfly. It needs that struggle to be able to have the strength to be able to fly and survive.
You're gonna have me quoting the spider and butterfly lines from Trigun.
Yeah,
I'm listening to Eden with the Gregorian chant masters after this, I swear.
Yeah, so good.
Well, there's a lot of times where that holds true. Like, if we're talking about the creation of a human life, destroying the world or destroying the innocence or liberating from the innocence, through like the carnal act of sex, going into procreation and then pregnancy and childbirth, right?
Yeah.
So you're destroying a type of world to become a new. And so much when it comes to even liberating yourself from
anything really.
Anything. And in this case, depression, sadness, self-pointed guilt.
It means something you mentioned earlier as well with yourself, where wouldn't really necessarily change any of the issues that you had, because it does help build you as you.
Yeah.
Because the imagery's been dark, but it's been kind of getting a little bit better, after the about the halfway point in this. It's definitely dark, so there's a healing aspect that may be happening here.
I'm seeing hope.
Yeah. Hope. Hope, and that leads to the healing. And I think that line very well does that. It's the idea of, someone won't change until they hit rock bottom.
Yep.
And which again is just that egg shattering. So a new world can come.
I mean, even ego death.
Yeah. A very good line, and yeah, I like that.
So instead of an all-white room, it still has the apple.
Is it supposed to be a headphone or a hearing aid?
It looked like the monitor that music artists use. He chooses against the knowledge. It was such an interesting choice for the picture to blow out the light of candles. The shifting light, the shifting perceptions or point of view of the world.
So, one thing that I'll pause it before it goes too far with this is I still see that hope. One thing, like when you are dealing with, is the hope and the darkness comes back. It's not gonna. Things don't just always get better. It's always an up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes after that hope, the darkness can feel even worse. Which I think I'm kind of pointing out with the visuals here, even though it didn't have that same creepy factor that the earlier ones had, it was very much more. The apple is gone now. It went pitch black. So maybe a little bit of a relapse.
I see what you're saying.
But still moving forward, which is where I'm assuming it's going here with him, walking up to a door.
Well, as we learned from the great House MD, walking a sense of progression and movement. There's definitely a sense of recovery in this scene.
Yeah.
But he's trapped. Why is he pedals from the first one?
The piano is there again. I'm pretty sure we've had the same bed each time. I think that's where I was kind of saying it's like the gonna get dark again. I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with the visuals.
Well, I wonder if this is him dealing... Like, this is the moment where each of those previous short films occurred. Dealing with what has happened to him or what he's feeling.
Locked up wardrobe, too. Interesting. You know something's off because of that Dutch angle. Yeah, and even with the music and the visuals, again, that very much again, that it can get through this feeling. So that hope.
Hey,
it's the burb again.
I expect him to start running towards the camera right now.
Yeah. Now I'm expecting a bit of a run. Gotta wait for the music to swell up that little bit more. I wonder if it's just wallpaper, if there's something meant to be seen in that.
I mean, I'm wondering if the cabinet represents the storage, like the shipping container. Him locking away the feelings that.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because the scratch doors last one.
So it was the room that he was trapped in.
Yeah.
So the room didn't represent like freedom or salvation or coping with what he was feeling. It was actually where he was trapped.
Yeah. Which again goes back to that depression that you were talking about, right? You'll feel trapped because you don't have the energy to move at it. Huh. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. There we go.
Oh. They didn't affect the picture, so.
Well, the last orb did change. It's not black anymore.
Oh no, yeah, it's got depth to it.
Yeah, it's gray. Yeah, it's got depth. It's a sphere now. So
all this leads to, I know it's getting late, the final thing, which is the first single and music video from this album. Now, this was released after a month of these short films, so you can imagine that hype was through the roof.
Yeah, I could see that.
Everyone was intrigued. They were coming off of some very artistic, youthful, like dealing with what it is to grow and be young and become an adult music videos and songs. They go through these short films and then they come to here, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which to me is actually the pinnacle of BTS.
All right.
Each one showing off their personalities. This is very dreamlike to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. Like purgatory.
It chills every time there.
Interesting, like the lead up to this isn't where I expected this sound to go at the very least. I'm seeing some like a little bit of visuals in the painting choices. Oh, actually recognize that
a little bit of absinthe.
Yeah, a little bit of absinthe. We had the bird painting burn again there.
The splashes of color.
Our pool. So there's a little bit of a visual there. That like the there was the two statues.
Yeah.
Missed the pause.
On the right there in the back.
Yeah. So we've got the demon and the angel, which I think is kind of there. In the visuals, yeah, like he's definitely fighting his demons. We had the angel reference right off the beginning. A lot of this visual is, and like the painting choices and such, it's almost reminding me of Devil's Advocate a little bit.
I see it.
The music definitely doesn't, but the visuals and the combination of the lead up to this definitely does.
J-Hope!
Last Supper, almost.
Painted Sky.
So it's interesting because there's definitely like similar images there. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that table was the same one where we saw him drop the apple.
The only complaint that I have about this being a follow-up is it's clear to me that the song is about love and attraction to somebody.
Yeah.
But that's not what the short films were about.
Yeah, it's...
The imagery, I think, is spot on. If anything, it might just be a little too well lit.
I definitely agree. It's a bit too well lit. Yeah, it's the imagery I'm liking. It's the... This isn't the sound that I would expect. I mean, obviously, I don't know what the lyrics are saying.
It's honestly, it's the synth in the background. The do 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 do. Yeah, it's cheering up the sound.
Yes.
Like we got chimes in there. That's
And it's like even like the way that they're dancing. Like I understand a big aspect that's there in a lot of the K-pop stuff. It's like the dancing that I've seen with Dreamcatcher seems to fit the song better, or the story better with that lead up.
Yeah.
Like that lead up leads me to think of half the Dreamcatcher stuff you sent me to, not this sound.
So you're saying, like, next time, instead of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, we should watch Boca?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I love that scene.
He too was a tempter. He too was a link to the second. The evil world with which I no longer wanted to have anything to do.
That being said, if we were to treat this as the 8th short film, with no resolution that was found, like assuming there's no resolution found in the short films, then there's a lot of people that seek attention through love and physical affection when they really just need help in themselves.
Yes.
And usually I would say, like, if this was a different piece of media, I'd be like, I don't want to make excuses for bad story or bad art, but I think it might follow suit in this case. But there is something disharmonious between the short films and this, and it is definitely in the sound.
Yeah.
I can leave the dancing, but the track itself doesn't fit the theme.
Yeah. Now, so there's one way I can make it work, and I don't think it was intentional, but I can put the spin on it anyway. This is actually the darkest of all of them.
Okay.
Because in the previous ones, like again, we were talking about the alcohol we were seeing. Now he's just reveling in it.
So like a manic band. I like this theory.
Yeah. Well, I love organ. It seems so weird in place with just the visuals from the rest of the the shorts. There's a lot of don't look imagery. And that just screams Angel of Death to me.
See, this is definitely more. This is like spot on visually to the.
Yes.
Oh,
Hmm.
I like that.
Huh.
This makes me wonder if we should just. It is late, but I really
Yeah.
want to put on that "I Need You" video. You have a few minutes?
Yep, I've got a few minutes.
Okay, give me a sec here. And I believe that "I Need You" came out the short films.
Okay.
Yeah, I Need You's 2015. Wings came out in 2016.
Okay. Man, I'm seeing a lot more visual. Like a lot of ties, even with this. Okay, so I think I'm starting to understand this iceberg that you talk about. Um,
It's like it's a little bit more than iceberg baiting.
hmm.
This is definitely like setting up things.
Yeah.
Oh, Saga.
So, one thing I'm getting with a lot of these visuals and kind of the discussion that we had is like I'm seeing a lot of these visuals I'm seeing would fit in very well with like icons for hire music. Like there's this weird disconnect 'cause it's got that kind of emo feel visually, but I don't hear it musically.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because like obviously now I've seen a lot. There's been a lot of hints to medication. So I'm going. It's like okay, so which one he has hurt real bad?
And it could be, it might not just be medication, it could represent addiction too, right?
Yeah.
In this case, I think it is medication. Like, in fact, during this entire recording, you've been pretty spot on with your observations. I'm just offering alternative options.
Yeah.
This really does feel like this would have been the more appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of this stuff is very similar.
And definitely very intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. Were these on the same album?
No.
No. Okay. Did someone just steal his car? Is that what happened there?
I missed it just because I was checking the chronology here.
Oh no, he's filling. Okay, no, he's a gas station attendant. Okay.
Yeah, they threw cash
I'm
on the
just-
ground instead of being respectful and giving it to him.
Yeah, I'm just so used to self-serve that it never entered my mind that he was working and not filling up his head. So a lot of what I'm seeing in this here is like, actually hit the pause button. This feels like the resolution to a lot of the things that we were seeing in those videos. There's enough visual similarities and just call forwards.
I would say the Wings short films feel like the internal monologue during the situations expressed in I Need You.
Yes. Yeah, that is exactly where it's going with. It's like, this is the actual what happened, and this is how they're seeing it, or how it's affecting them more on that more emotional level.
Mm-hmm. Given that if we were to tie I Need You to this, then we do have to break it up into individuals. That's the disconnect, because I really do feel like the Wings are an individual person.
Yeah.
That being said, there we go, right?
Yeah.
So he might have overdosed from taking all those pills.
Yeah, no, there's definitely overdosing with this one here.
So he was the only one that showed life with the flower on his chest, right?
Yeah.
So each of the friend group destroyed themselves in some way. And the one with the flower on his chest couldn't stop it.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the story of the guy with the flower on the chest.
Who is
And
that? Is it Jin?
I
know you wouldn't know. Oh yeah, it's his friends driving this car.
Yeah.
What it's called though? Smash a bottle over someone and then stab him with it.
Yeah. Obviously don't know the rest of the lyrics here, but just that breakdown feels very disconnected to the visuals we're seeing. This does not feel like a breakup song or like the I Need You Girl type thing. But again, there could be other lyrics. Obviously, I don't understand what the rest of it's saying. That was interesting.
Yeah, so I think in this case, it was Jin. Jin is the only one alive, or not that doesn't have like a ruined life, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
There's indication that Jimin, J-Hope, and Suga all attempted suicide. Um, Taeyong. So there's a lot of that. So like when you have 6 close friends, and couple kill themselves, like one's in jail, like etc. etc. Like
Yeah.
the only thing that you can do at that point is shoulder that guilt.
Mhm.
Not saying that you should, because it is not your fault. But I definitely could see why a person would feel it be their fault.
Yeah.
So,
Jin, you said?
yeah.
So was he the same person in Awake who's leaving the room?
Uh, like all over the place. Awake, solo by Jin.
Okay. And Begin. So there's 7 of them or 6 of them?
7.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one's. So I can see why, if there's other videos like this, I can see why there's an iceberg for lore here. Because, yeah, I could see that. I still think that the series as a whole was one person.
Yeah.
I am now thinking it is the person who survived this.
I agree.
Because all of the visuals are there. It makes sense. I would still see like the blood and such around. It would be interesting to look and see like how what's happening to each of them in this video. Their solo on the Wings short video is a little bit of a tie there as well.
I think there likely is, given the parallels that we've seen already.
Yeah.
No, I love Blood, Sweat, and Tears,
Hmm.
but to be pulled up in comparison artistically,
Yeah.
like it's a great song and it's a fantastic music video, but in context of the short films, there's something lacking.
Yeah, I agree. This definitely fit more into. I Need You definitely fit more into that feeling of the short films, musically, visually, but in a different way than the Blood, Sweat, and Tears one did. I think the Blood, Sweat, and Tears very much caught um, uh, the artistic visuals of the first one, but this one here, I Need You had more of the meaning behind the visuals.
Yeah, agreed. Well, with that, we will end it here. What I thought was going to be a half-hour recording is apparently an hour and 40 minutes.
It was worth it. That was really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this series.
Yeah.
Being